Okay, I'm back again. And we're going to talk about the Tekken Update 3.30 changes. I want to make this brief, but I know it's most likely not going to be brief. Yeah. So let's go ahead and begin. Miguel got 3 changes during this patch. Also, before I continue, I felt, definitely making this video. Because even this early on, I see reactions in terms of his changes. Obviously, more so on the bigger issues like the Mishimas and stuff like that. Asuka, Hwoarang, But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about Miguel, of course. And I see these reactions about Miguel. Oh my gosh, he's buffed. He's back. He's this. It's just like, again, it's just you think, do they play Miguel? So I feel like, when I release these videos, I want to do it to where I talk about things that people don't really talk about or isn't highlighted enough, Things that kind of fall between the seams or the cracks, so to speak. So, what are we talking about? Miguel got 3 changes. He got 3 changes. Let me change his background art because that's kind of some not safe for work type of stuff. Let me change his background art. Give me a second. If you ever use John's background switcher, it's really good if you use Windows 10. Okay, cable, that's cool. Anyway, so let me change this and show you. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, let me put it right here. Okay, so Miguel got 3 different changes, as you can see. One, his race drive change, and one change in Savage 1.4, and one change in Savage Dynamic 3. So we're going to talk about those. Then I'm going to kind of discuss the implications of each one. Alright, so let's change it back to Tekken. Let's begin. So the biggest and best change will be Miguel's race drive, obviously. We've been asking for this, and I've also seen other comments for 6 years. When did Tekken come out? In 2017. It came out in arcades in the East in 2015, right? So for 5 years. But for us, really, for 3 years, we've been asking, can Miguel get a better race drive? Now he finally got one on March 23rd, 2020. Even though the game came out in June of 2017, right? We finally got one. His race drive now doesn't count as a spiral, which means you can re-spiral them. It's going to turn on rage. Go ahead and turn on rage, which means you can re-spiral them, right? Something like that, right? 70 damage. Again, this is more practical because until then, in my opinion, as somebody who makes combo videos, the most practical thing you could do out of this was, or the most practical use out of this was after that. Well, not even after that, because if it's too far, sometimes it won't even catch, and it's not that reliable. So it's not recommended to use it after that, really. I'm getting it now, but in an actual battle, it can whiff. So the most reliable way to do it was from down back 1. From that. Because even though you can do it from here, again, you don't want to mess with the whole crouch cancels and you have a risk of dropping it, And you don't even get more damage by doing a crouch cancel directly from this. So the most reliable way was to do it after a wall rising 4. And then, in my opinion, like I said, for somebody who makes combo videos, the best, if you combine practicality with optimum damage, then this was the best combo you could do. That was the best combo prior to this change. But now you can do another spiral. Then you can get something like this, right? 59 damage. So it increases by 6 damage, I would say. Because anything else, then again, you're going into a realm of like, it's not as you wouldn't be as confident hitting it, right? So 59 damage, and and obviously this is early on, so people can discover more things, right? But yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Not, hold on, I'm understanding it. It's very good. Now Miguel can actually do good wall carry from stage to stage. I've seen videos like that, and it just functions as an actual raid drive now versus it being objectively one of the worst raid drives in the game, alongside with characters like, you know, Law, right? So very good change. Even though I did make a video on hashtag Buff Miguel, I did make a video on it to where I wanted his raid drive to be something out of this, or something from this, something more signature to his style. However, you know, they didn't do that, but at the same time, hey, we can't complain, because as we know now in 2020, in season 3.30 of Tekken, the fans and the development team aren't exactly transparent. You know what I mean? It's more of a king and a serf type relationship, more of an overlord, to where we have no say in what's going on. Our input doesn't matter. I mean, if you look at Michael Murray asking, hey, if you guys really are serious about changes, then compile all of it into one list and send it to us. You know, make a Discord, make a compile list of what you guys want to see for each character, and we'll consider it. And as you see from this season, or this 3.30, none of it was considered. So it was all a waste of time. Similar to me making my Buff Miguel video back, what was that, last year? You know, just felt like a waste of time. Which is why you don't really see me making videos complaining about what needs to be changed or stuff like that. It's just like, clearly there's no transparency. Clearly my voice is just going into the ether, never to be heard again. So I don't want to be pessimistic, but that's what's going on. If you want to be practical, you know, down to earth. But so yeah, going back to Miguel's changes, his race drive was definitely a welcome change. Even you can see that now there's more time to hit him, and does it leave him closer? No, but it's just more time in his whole animation of being bounded, I guess. So it's now you'd want to do things like this and try and catch him in weird ways like that, right? You want to try and catch him in weird ways. You want to try to extend as much damage as you can. It definitely opens up his combo ability in terms of catching somebody with that. But mainly it's going to be just expanded off of a, you know, off of a punch sweep, like I said. Better for that. The raid drop still functions as that, you know. Or it's going to be for wall carry, of course. Like that. Like a wall carry or something. So yeah, it's going to be for wall carry or to catch somebody off of that. You're not going to want to use that for optimum damage, because even if you want to do that, then just do something that's more damaging. Like, you know, like for instance, I can only figure out in terms of 75 damage just getting it through a normal bound system. The most I can come up with in the, you know, couple minutes of playing it would be 75 damage, which is that what I did earlier, 75 damage. Or alternatively, you could go like I did last time. You could get a down for one end. Oh, it's hard, but I think that's also 75 damage. So, but I can just do this. It's harder though for this combo route, which I don't recommend doing using that and that. I don't recommend. I think I did it too late. Okay, I got it. So give me about 80 damage, I believe. 80 or 81. And that's already higher than what you would get using the race drive. So you don't want to use the race drive for damage. You want to use it, like I said, off the punch sweep. But overall, amazing change. I mean, a good change on the surface level. But my argument would be that it's just a bunch of bells and whistles. It's not truly fixing Miguel. Notice I use the word fix because he does need to be fixed, because he has glaring problems in his gameplay. He has holes in his gameplay, which up until now haven't really been addressed, with the exception of this change. With the exception of this change right here. It hasn't really been addressed. So these are just bells and whistles. They don't fix Miguel's gameplay, like I said. But I'll talk about it once I wrap up these 3 changes in the future, or a little later on. But on the surface level, great change. His rage drive is now a viable option, and it's now in line with other characters. You know, like I said, it's a viable option and worth consideration. So, second change would be Savage chances hit consecutively. Now, this is what people were saying, oh my god, this is broken. This move is so good. No, it's not. And let's switch to a different stage for this. Let's switch to a different stage for this. Okay, so
get ready for
the move's not broken. In fact, it's actually an overrated change, I would argue. Because you know why? On the surface, it seems great. They're just going ham with his options in terms of wall bounce options. We have back 4, which is an amazing option. Let me take out rage. Back 4 from standing, an amazing option, a great buff. So where you can, you know, it's a round stealer. It's an armored move, right? It's an armored move. Should I turn this to the wall? Yeah, restart position to the wall. Let's do that. It's a great move, like I said. So wow, that was a great change, right? It's a great change. And now you have this, which also is a wall bound, but now it's a natural combo. Because before it wasn't, it was natural on counter hit. And now let me take that off. So it was natural on counter hit before, now it's a natural combo, 34 damage. People are saying, oh, it's so good. Well, how? Why do I say that? Is because how were Miguel players converting off of this in the first place? How are they scoring this on hit in the first place? It's a 12 frame high that's locked behind a stance. A stance with many transition options, but few effective transition options. Few transition options with a lot of plus utility from plus frames. To where really to safely go into this, you're limited to this, this, and that. But this one is only, oh, that too, but that's very slow and is steppable. So it's not going to be practical for, like, you know, during a high level gameplay unless you set it up. But again, these are just kind of one-off things. Really, you're going to be doing like this and that in order to get to Sav, right? Or this. But considering the nerf to this, now it's +4, and the fact that this is a high to where Miguel's hole is that he doesn't have any good mid move, a mid move to where it's either reasonably fast, it can knock them down, or it gives them plus frames either on it gives them plus frames on hit while we're keeping them standing, or the frames are forgiving on block. Let's say a minus or +1, +2, +3 frame hit, a +1 through 3 frame move that's mid, that's not out of Savage, on block, if that makes sense. I know I'm confusing, but you know, so like I said, for the video I made for down 2, like if you had a move like that and then that was like +2 on block, then people would have a reason to fear him, you know, in terms of not ducking. But as Miguel stands now, this doesn't do anything for his core gameplay, because if you're facing against Miguel, what reason do you have not to duck? All his most potent things are lows. This is scary because now I got advantage on you, and now I have Oki on you. Very pesky. It's borderline unseeable even though it's slow. But if you time it right and you use it conservatively, then people aren't going to block this, not only online but offline as well. So you have that. You know, you have a variety of things. So that's slow, but it crushes highs, and it also leads to a pesky situation where you get some damage and then you get Oki as well. You have this meaty hit, which can lead to that. This for wall splat, giving you good damage. And not only that, but I can just mix things up from here and then go into that and go into that. And now the ball's rolling because momentum is. Miguel's a momentum-based character. Let's see what else we have. Even this is bad, but just being able to convert like that is a good situation. Because if they roll back, then I'm like plus. I forgot what it was, like plus 14 or something. So scoring this move you're in a good situation as a Miguel player. You're not in a good situation as somebody defending against Miguel. But his lows create situations all the time where he can do stuff like that. And then I have momentum that I can keep going, right? Let's see, you have this chunky move, which is 28 damage without a counter hit. It's a 33 damage with counter hit and a full combo. I can just keep going on. Miguel has a lot of good lows. Oh, not to mention this and that counter hit. You get this. Now you get a 67 points of damage from the third change. And you can also do it from this move as well. This move, +3, very pesky. Good tracking. I can keep going into this. All his most potent things are lows, and then you have highs. You have this great 14 frame Punisher. You have this series, which I'm going to talk about, which is the point of the conversation. You have a 15 frame knockdown homing, which gives you guaranteed stuff out of Savage Stance, also high. So if you think about it, all his best moves are highs and lows, but his mids is like the gaping hole in his offense. So why do I say this move is underrated? It's because you have this, but the problem is they're not giving you enough tools to safely land this, or to get to a situation to where you can land this, or you can bait and fish out scoring this as a counter hit. Because where do you do that? Do you do that from here? You're +3, right? And then you do that, which is Miguel's classic frame trap, because that's a 12 frame high, right? So you'd think you'd be able to do that from this. But no, why do I say that? It's because for good players, they down jab after this, right? There's nothing really threatening at this distance from opponents to be like, okay, let me try and counter here, let me try and do this, right? It doesn't pull the opponent closer to Miguel, so there's still distance after they get hit. You see that? If I'm just hitting right there, then you see the distance. And so trying to do this, really, once you hit that, I'm like at like the second distance away, right? There's the distance 0, 1, 2. I'm like at the first or second distance away. So I'm not even in a good position to really do this, because the opponent has so many options. I can backdash that. He can duck it. Or like I said, for good opponents, they always down jab after this, down jab after that. Down jab beats a lot of Miguel's options because, like I said, they failed to address his gaping hole, his mid game. So he doesn't have any mids to check down jab. So this loses to down jab. Or any low hit really, because it's a high, you know? It's a high that's coming out in 9 frames in this situation. So for those reasons, it's not a good option. It's not a reliable option to use that to get into this. Only for people who are more offensive, more novice players, or if you've done a fair bit of conditioning, then you can do that. So how else would you be able to get into that? Let's see. Would you do that? Again, that's a good tool, but all that is high. So again, that's easily duckable. Or you can down jab it. Pretty much. Any way you look at it, there's no good way to get into this, because he's very stunted in terms of his effective ways to get into Savage Stance, like I've said. Now you would think, okay, you have this, but with the nerf to this, not only does it not crouch, send the opponent, or not only does it not force crouch anymore, but it's only +4. So for situations like this, again, for situations like that, Miguel kinda, it's a good option, but you don't want to go low high, you know what I mean? For low high strings, those are generally the noob crusher strings, you know what I mean? Those aren't strings that are good in Tekken, because essentially if you want to do this from this, then you're doing a low high string to where you go low high, low high, low, or low high. And same for the previous example, low high. And those aren't good strings because A, it's not a true combo. For both a follow up, which you're making a string, and actual strings, it's not a true combo. And when somebody gets hit with the low, they're not gonna attack back. They're gonna be holding back. So it's by default they're gonna block that, and then it's gonna be their turn. You know what I mean? For instance, why I say that is because low strings aren't good if you take this string right here. Now high lows are good strings. Those are strings we go like this, then you do that. They're very tricky, they're good, and it serves as a good mix up to open people up, right? But for a low high string, you don't want to do it because, like I said, A, when somebody gets hit with a low, they're going to be looking to block, and so they're not going to get hit by a high. Not only that, but once they get hit by a low, oftentimes they're going to duck, you know. Oftentimes, they'll see that's a low high string just based on knowing your character's moves, or just from how the move is coming out. And then these strings are duckable, so you can get hit by this and you can duck that and launch me. So it's not a good sequence of chain of moves. You want high low and not low high. So for that reason, doing this and that, and doing this and that is not a good option, because there's so many ways to beat that. There's so many ways. You know, he could do a high crushing move. He can backdash, and while he can backdash and block it, and he can cover any close range option that he can block that. He can duck. He can do a dick jab. He can do many things to dissuade you from continuing to do a low high string. Now let me just think on top of my head from other options. You have this, which is not a good option to go into that. You have this, which also is +3, so you think, okay, since this comes out in 12 frames, right? Then that means it's a 9-frame situation in which it comes out. So you want to do this, which is good, but again, it's not going to be for high level players. They're not going to get hit by that, because doing a high from a situation to where you're plus frames, it's like the obvious solution. That's like, you know, the obvious chain of event after putting someone in that situation. That's going to be something opponents are looking for. So you want to kind of do this, maybe go low, do this, delay it, and go mid. You want to kind of switch it up, because highs have the best reward, but they're the most vulnerable to crushing, to backdashing, to ducking. There's so many problems with highs that in order for the mix-up game to happen, mix-ups are better served with mids and lows, you know. Highs are more for quick moves, for 10-frame jabs, to counter hit moves, but you don't want to do a high from a situation to where you're already plus, because at that situation you don't need to do a move quicker than the opponent, because you're already at frame advantage. So many of his best transitions are from lows and highs, and those aren't situations where you want to follow up with the high, if that makes sense. So again, so many options to beat that dick jab, and all these options I'm saying you can beat that with a dick jab, or a duck, or a high crushing move, because I'm not plus frames enough to hit somebody out of a high crushing move, you know? So even certain hop kicks and certain things will crush something like this, because they often crush highs. So I ask the question again, What move can Miguel transition into Savage Stance in order to effectively get into a situation to where you can do this amazing buff that people keep saying? It's not many. Only one I can really think of will be down for 1, which is cool. Which if you have an opponent that's very aggressive, you get this, you do that. And then the ball's rolling. Down for 1 is really his best transition. His best, most consistent, reliable transition. Now, obviously, there is this one right here, which is cool. Like +7 to +8 on block, which is a good option. But again, it's not reliable because it's very slow. You can get floated out of that via a jab, and also it's steppable. So it's going to see limited use generally in the game. Now you have his new move, his back down forward 4. But now we have a problem with that too. Once it hits, the damage is great. The plus frames are great. What was it, like +7 or +8 or something? I think +7, right? Great move, but look how far it sends him on hit. Look at that. He might as well be backdashing away. The opponent might as well manually backdash after getting hit by that. Like there's a window for them to do that. Might as well be. So I do this move. And then that whiffs. So you can X that out too. I've been going on this for a long time, but you need to understand that the ins and outs of Miguel, and don't just look at the patch notes. Look at the frames, what it does, and like, oh, well, Miguel got a buff. See, you're happy, right? No. If you don't fix the underlying issues, then how would he even use that buff? See what I'm saying? So all you have is this and that in order to get into that, right? So yeah. I'm trying to think of other things. You have that, but that's only +1, so that's not even in the running. You know, just trying to think of anything else really. Okay, you do have his grab too. So that's a good option. I actually forgot about that option. So yeah, you'd want to do something like that, right? You want to do something like that. And that's a good option because people do, in my experience, try and counter you after that. They want to do like a fast move to try and beat you out of that situation. So that could be a good move, I guess. And then you do that, wall bounce them, and then the ball's rolling. So on the surface level, end of the day, great change. You know, you can do some crazy things. Crazy things, right? And I'm whiffing right now, but just in general, wall bounces are great. But like I said, how do you get to that? And I mentioned the problems with this, but even still, that's a good option. Even still, it's a good option to do that. But then there's another thing about that, is that this is arguably better. If you want, because that's already he already had natural moves out of a Savage 1. He has this move, which is a high mid. Same thing as this. I should talk about this first. He has a high, which is naturally sends him to the ground. You can get a free down. You can get a free down. You know, a down 4, 1+2. But the added benefit is that when you do this, and then you do the down 4, 1+2, you get 46 points of damage. Here you only get 34 points of damage. So you get 12 more points of damage just from doing this. I believe you get 49 if you do his that. You get 49. But that's like, you have to do that frame perfect. Well, okay, 51 I guess. So it's more damage, but it's extremely difficult to pull that off, and it's not recommended, not practical. So what you want to do is this move right here. So you get 12 more points of damage in doing this, right? Not only you get 12 more points of damage, but now I have Oki after this. I have Oki after this. So now my offense is still continuing. So I'm giving even more damage based on just mixing him up after that situation. So you can win games just by getting that. Boom, boom, and then you do have more damage. Now, Sephi Black also taught me, or watching his videos, he taught me that I didn't even do it before then, but it works almost every time. You do this, you do that, and then you do a stomp. But the stomp will come out every time because they're still on the ground by the time you leave your cooldown frames from doing this, and they're still grounded. And so you get the stomp every time. You get the stomp every time. That was a random message, but yeah. And why do I say that is because if I have him, let me turn off the guard. You get 25 points of damage, and that works a lot of the time to where even if you face from novice to good players, in the heat of the battle when they're trying to get up or backdash, the stomp actually has a very wide radius in terms of the hitbox. So not only am I getting 46, but then I'm getting 25 on top of that. So what is that? And my math is horrible. How do I not know that? That's 70. That's 71, right? Right? 45 plus 25, 65, 45 plus 25, 40, 65, 70. Yeah, 71, right? Okay, you get 71 points of damage. Instead of a 34 points of damage, you get 71. Assuming you hit that. Boom, boom, you hit that. Now, I believe I'm -2 after that, so my offense is done after that. I'm -2, but the distance is pretty good. I'm -2, I can just backdash away. So I'm getting 71 points of damage off of scoring a hit on Savage 1. What would I want to do more so? Despite all that, it is recommended, like I said, what I'm trying to say, I know I'm jumbled, but what I'm trying to say is that in open space, you don't even want to do that. You want to do this because of all the reasons I said, and the Oki that comes after that. In open space, you want to do that. If you score this, if you score a hit from that. Now, where this buff does get better, or where this buff is better comparatively, would be to Savage 1-2. Now, this is a move that was underrated, and like I said in my previous spiel, you don't want to do a low-high move. You want to do a high-low move, but what's a better string in Tekken would be a high-mid move. The high for the quick punish or the quick hit, and then the mid for the, mids being you can't duck it, you have to stand block it, you have to respect mids. So a high mid move is something that covers a lot more bases than like a high like this. So for that reason, even in my gameplay, you can watch my offensive highlight tutorial videos. Even in my gameplay, I mix this up, mix that up. I mix that up all the time, and that's also a natural. That's also a natural on hit, and I'm +3 after that. Yeah, you're +5 on that, and you're +3 on this, right? So you have this. You have +3 with the ability to go into Savage, even though it does leave them with space. It's still good to be +3 after that. Then do something like that. Do something like that. It's still +3 is still a good situation, and it's still being your turn. So a safe 2-hit natural combo that gives you 17 damage with the ability to transition to Sav is a good move. So I used to do that all the time. So like I said, where this does get better comparatively is that instead of doing this now, I'm going to do this every time because it is better. So on that way, it's better. It's a better move. Also, one thing I want to say as well, why I feel it's overrated, is because you didn't use this move to be a natural string. You know what I mean? And it actually wasn't as effective as just a string like that. Even though it's natural, a lot of the ways you hit the string, even though it's natural, before this, the way you hit that string was to delay it, because it's so delayable after this. That's why these strings were so good. You can't really delay that as much, but you can delay these moves. You see how much I can delay that? So it added to his mix-up ability, And then you hit that all the time, and that and that was very effective mix-up tool, just that delay ability. But even though now it's been buffed to where it's natural, I have to commit now if I want to take advantage of that natural state. I have to commit, because you can't, if you delay even though, or hold on, let me see. Oh, actually I need to turn to guard. I was like, did he not block? So if I don't delay it, he's gonna get hit. If I delay even a little bit, even a little, then he's gonna block it and it's gonna return to the properties the move was prior to this 3.30 update. So even though it's a buff, I have to commit to it now, which means that I'm losing, you know, like, it's cool, like I said, just to use it in place of this, which is my recommendation. Instead of doing this, use this. But like I said, even this is arguably more if you're facing a defensive opponent and you can't get them in a situation to where you know this will be a hit, because you can't hit confirm it, right? You can't hit confirm this. So if you have trouble getting into a situation to where you know the Savage one will hit, which is going to be inevitable from what I said about the problems of Miguel getting into this move and safely fishing for a counter hit for that move, then this will be a better option. Just to delay it, do a move, and then delay it, you know, and then you'll still get that wall bust ability and you'll still be able to change the match to your favor. Is there anything else I want to say about that? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Kind of use it in place of that. But in open space, if you're able to score, if you're able to miraculously score a hit from here, then you want to do this. Also, I did forget this move, and that's actually a good move to use it from. So that, this, and then this. Boom, boom. Because this move isn't really used much, and Miguel isn't somebody who's played a lot. So in the heat of battle, once you're doing this, boom, and then boom, boom, people don't know that, oh, I'm negative, right? People don't know that they're negative. I believe you're -5, right? After that. So it's a high as well, obviously. So that kind of goes into my point too, to where it's hard to get to a situation to where you can get a counter hit from that, because this is a high. But once you do get an impact from that, then in the heat of the battle, people will respond like normal, and then you can easily score a counter hit from that. So you want to do that, and then that, or that, and then that, and that. So that's a good way to use it as well. Let's move on to the third point. Let's move on to the third point. Make sure I'm still recording. Okay, cool. Let's move on to the third point. And let me pull this up again. All right. The third point is that you change the damage 20 to 20, or the third buff would be, now this damage is 23. Like I said, it's cool. It's not really, you know, it's a good damage. It's, you got to think of it as this cumulative damage, to where in battle you can do it wham, wham, you know, wham, and do it twice, you know what I mean? And then that adds up. Those three points of damage adds up, of course. When you consider this, combo right here, it's now 67 points of damage. So it's you know, it's good. Nothing groundbreaking, but it's better. However, this move is beyond saving unless they do one or two things: either make this +5 again or make it force crouch. Then it's still a gutted move, in my opinion. And not even just that, but if you, not the force crouch, but returning it to +5, which means he can safely go into here. He can trade with this, and then he can utilize that mix up safely without being counter hit, or without trading a dig jab or a standing jab. So until that move is fixed, then a damage change isn't really going to do anything for that. So that's just kind of like bells and whistles, like I said. So overall, from his 3 changes, and let me just try and keep this brief because I know I've been going on a while. His 3 changes is just bells and whistles, in my opinion. All he needed was one change, and that's to make this move +2 or +3 on block, and make it a full counter. Like, make it a full counter. Actually, able to do that after that on counter hit or something like that. Some scary mid to get people to respect him, to stop ducking. Because if you play against Miguel, why wouldn't you duck when all of his scariest things, including this, that, this, all of his scariest things are all high? You know what I mean? Including this, which is kind of a better form of this in terms of an armored move, but it's safe and it provides pushback. Also high. This move. So all of his best moves are either high or low. So why wouldn't you duck Miguel? He has a problem with getting people to respect his standing game. Of course, you have a hop kick, but again, when you have poor range like that, and a move that's -13 on block, again, it's just, that's more of a gamble. You know what I mean? That's more of like, it's like playing at the casino pretty much. Because, okay, what happens if you don't hit it? You're vulnerable and you get punished. You know, and a hop kick isn't his offense, if that makes sense. It's not as effective as somebody like Claudio, to where it has monster range, it has evasive properties, and it's just a key part of his offense. Miguel can't win based on hop kicks. He wins based on his momentum, his offensive pressure, his meaty lows, his his mix-up game, his plus frames. That's how he wins, not from a hop kick. You can't rely on that to safely win a set. Maybe a round, but you can't rely on that to win a set. So he needs things that will help the interior of his game. When you give him a better race drive, that's cool. That's better for end of round situations, but that's not fixing Miguel the character. When you make this a consecutive hit, that's cool and lethal, especially considering the wall-bound properties, but that's not a staple of Miguel's offense, and it's hard to set up a situation to even get to that move. So why is that move being buffed versus all of his other moves, which are more prominently used, such as this move, such as even this move, you know, such as this move, such as the range to his jabs? When is there gonna be a fix for that? Such as this move right here, such as the hitbox, the lower bounded hitbox to this move, and the properties to this move. The fact that you can't hit confirm it means that in high level play, all you're going to be doing is this, which is 15 damage +7, but you can't really respond after that because he's too far. And you're not going to be doing this because if you get blocked, if it's blocked, then they have all the time in the world to respond with a 13 frame punish, right? So things he really needed, things that the interior of his offense, the things that make Miguel a potent threat, is still ignored, like I said. And when you have the rage drive, when you have this, we have a damage change to this, then it's just nice extras. It's, like I said, bells and whistles, but it's not fixing Miguel's core gameplay. He's still a broken character. I don't want to sound like spiteful or pessimistic or anything, but he's still a broken character. He's still a character that has glaring holes that needs to be fixed in order to just be considered, you know, for people just coming into Tekken, for people who like him, for people who find him cool, but ultimately ineffective. So they'll just go to Brian or Mishima's, you know what I mean? Or Akuma or something. It's just a disservice to keep him remained in this state, especially when the availability of what people want is out there. You can go to my channel. You can go on Tekken Zaibatsu. You can go on the Tekken Zaibatsu Discord. You can go just type in Miguel and Google. You know what I mean, and then you'll find on Reddit, the Tekken Reddit, right? And plenty of people are saying, "Hey, this needs to be fixed. This needs to be fixed. Hey, look at this problem." It's not hard to find that. So if you're the developers, it's either willful ignorance, like I said, or they just have priorities in other characters, other more used characters more of the face of the franchise. Obviously, there's a reason for it, but these changes again are from the outlook of somebody who doesn't play Miguel, who's never really explored Miguel in depth, who sees, oh, these are glaring one-off problems that needs to be fixed. Okay, his race drive is bad, let's fix that. Okay, this should be improved better, let's make the damage more. Let's not consider the meta of this and how it completely changes meta, reducing it from +5 to +4, and how you're pretty much how you're incidentally or as a result nerfing this, nerfing that, and nerfing this. By nerfing the plus rating properties of that, you're nerfing all those moves I just did. You're not considering all those things because you don't actually play Miguel. So that's my rundown of what I feel about the changes. A bunch of bells and whistles, but no true Miguel change, no real change that makes him more viable competitively or more fun, if that makes sense. Well, that's arguable because that change to the rage drive does make him more fun because now he can combo better, right? Or it introduces a new set of potential combos, so that's more fun in a sense, I would say. And this should be more fun. This should make it more fun, being a natural hit that wall bounce. But if I can't get into that, then how's that more fun? See what I'm saying? If I'm not even hitting it during a match, how's that more fun? So, like I said, yeah, I just went on a rant pretty much, but you get it. That's my rundown, you know. A rundown, a bunch of bells and whistles, but not, like I said, in terms of him being the best Miguel was Season 2 Miguel. That was the best Miguel. Just from the simple fact that we got this move, boom, and now we can do so many things from that. We got this move right there, and it also bounds. It also spirals on countering it. It didn't need to do that, right? And the change to giving more pushback to this, and what else did he have? And the damage buff to this, right? To where that was like a 50-50 right there. You had to respect Miguel. Even though he still had his problems in terms of his mid game, you have to respect, is he either going to do this or is he going to do that? That made him more potent, but that wasn't really abusable because I still have to put him in a situation where I'm like have offensive pressure on him, you know. And with his lack of good pokes, I still have to maneuver, move, and to get into a position to where I can get him with that, right? Because in the open space, people say that was abusable, or people say this was abusable, but it really wasn't. Because what else can I do but a standing move? If I'm facing this Miguel and I'm on range 2 or range 3, I'm just gonna hold back because I don't have a low that can threaten him. I can't do that. I can't do this. What can I do but something like that? Or like I said, something like this. Or something like that. Even though, like I said, Season 2, it had a lot of pushback. What else was I going to do on this range but that? I don't have any sort of poke like that, you know? Or what if I do something like this? Okay, you're just holding standing block and I'll hit it too. So it wasn't really abusable like that, like people were saying. And I'm speaking more from a situational standpoint, not from like a biased perspective as Miguel main. But Season 2, like I said, was the best Miguel, and they've just been going downhill since. So, you know, hopefully they can do better. Hopefully. I can't imagine another season after this. Tekken 8, given Miguel will be on the game, then, you know, we'll see something different, and then I'll be back then. Now I'm gonna make videos in the meantime, but, you know, I'm already looking forward to the next update. Let me just say that. Because this one is kind of like, man, on 3 changes, not enough. You know, it could have been worse. It could have gotten no change, like many of these other characters. But I just want to see more in terms of his core gameplay. So that's all I got to say, really. I'll see you guys later.